My name is Cody, and I will be your tour guide today. Now, before we actually start the tour, I would like to give a little bit of history behind our discovery. So we were first discovered on December 17th, 1937, by a man named Dr. Walter S. Amos. Amos was a retired geologist and mineralogist who was in the area due to the recent opening of Skyline Drive. He was looking to see if there were any cave and cavern systems that could be used for commercial income, and he actually did find 6 others prior to this one. However, he deemed them unusual due to their size, and so he decided to keep on looking. Right around where our parking lot is today, there was a sinkhole. Sinkholes are typically a V-shaped depression in the ground with at least a little bit of water. When Amos found it, it didn't really have much water in it, so he suspected that there was a drain system nearby. So after looking around, he came across this ledge right above our heads. The ledge was sticking 18 inches out of the ground, and as Amos was looking underneath the ledge through the grass and vegetation, he found a colony of camel crickets. Camel crickets are small brown insects that typically like cold, damp areas such as basements, cellars, and caverns. So if you have them in your house, I'm really sorry, they're just icky and gross. Blech. They look like they've been genetically mixed with a spider, and it's just so uncomfortable. So Amos figured that this was evidence enough, and so he went back to the local town of Royal, hired a few men. They came back and they started to dig. After a few hours, they came across this formation right here. This is called flowstone, and this isn't exactly the best specimen of flowstone, mainly because it's been buried for so long. We will be seeing a lot more of it later on your tour, though. After a few more hours of digging, we came across where our gates are today, which after this point, it opened up to the rest of the cavern system, because turns out, our caverns are naturally accessible with only around 10% being filled in with mud and clay. They actually dig out through that 10%, which we will be going in later on your tour. Now, before we go into the next room, there are a few rules that I would like to tell you all. First, please do not vape or smoke. We don't call it that because it's a man-made fireplace, but because above it here, tightly like the ceiling. This is a stalagmite, which we might reach the top one day. And this right over here is flowstone. Now, how the formations go is pretty much the water then drips down, depositing even more minerals onto the floor, or in this case, the wall, leaving behind stalactites and stalagmites. Now, flowstone, the water just flows in a horizontal-like way, leaving behind a drapery-like formation. Now, for me, flowstone kind of looks like a hornet's nest when compared to stalactites, which seem a little bit more bumpy and This here is our Capitol Dome. We call it that because it looks like the Capitol Dome in Washington, D.C. However, other people say it looks like a jellyfish, a monster's mouth, an elephant's foot.
That's pretty cool.
Now, this is the geological corner, and this is the great place to talk about how our caverns were formed. Scientists theorize that our caverns were formed by the fault and fracture theory. That's where oceanic and Atlantic continent plates come together to create fault lines. Now, millions of years ago, Shenandoah Valley was actually just a huge water mass. And as the tectonic plates came together, forming the Blue Ridge Mountains, they made these fault lines right above our heads here, and water started to seep in. The ledge that is close to the water, and right underneath it is the part. The one I've mentioned. Now, formation right here is what we like to call hanging rock. We call it that because this formation is only hanging on one of its 6 sides. Hanging rock is around 16 tons. And the reason why we're still able to stand underneath it to this day is because if you look along the wall here, you can see these holes. These holes were drilled in by scientists a few decades ago, and they come down here every 3 years to just check and see if the holes have changed in any size, shape, or if any cracks have formed. That way they will know if hanging rock is about to be lying on the floor or squished into a pancake rock. Fortunately, we haven't really seen anything with the holes, so we are still able to stand.
For the culture it means.
Now, this here is trout stream, and as many of you have seen, we do have some. The species of fish is rainbow trout, giving the name trout stream. And the reason why they are here is because in the 50s, the Virginia Department of Game and Inland Fisheries came to us wanting to do an experiment. They wanted to see how animals dealt living underground, and we were given the task of housing fish. Now with fish, as long as they're given a good water source, they're pretty much able to survive. And so we've continued to house them ever since the experiment. However, we do have to restock them every 10 years because that's their natural life cycle. And there is no vegetation in the water for them to naturally reproduce because their eggs are fluid on them. Now, here is Rainbow Trails. We call it that because of the many colors we have through here. They were installed around the 60s because young kids who would come down here would get a little antsy due to being in the cold and looking at bland colors. So they thought that a variety of colors would help. They did not. In fact, it nearly made it worse. The young children would just not shut up in any parts of the tour, and this would just make them scream. Stalagmites, columns, and flowstone. You can even see some colors, including white, reddish-brown, and bluish-gray. The white is calcium carbonate, also known as calcite. This is actually a main ingredient in antacids. So if you have an upset stomach, I guess you could lick that. The reddish-brown is iron oxide, more commonly known as rust. I would not suggest licking that. The bluish-gray, which you can actually see in a multitude right around here, is magnesium sulfate. This is a main component in laxatives. I would highly suggest you do not lick that. It is not good. Trust me, I've tried. Does anyone want to guess how deep it is? You're close. Well, actually, you're spot on. I'm sorry, I heard something different. I'm legally required to say you're close, so that's what I always am used to saying. This body of water is 2 to 4 inches deep. The reason why it looks deeper is actually in the name, Mirror Lake. This body of water just reflects the ceiling, giving it a deeper appearance. However, since it is fall and there's not really that much rain, there hasn't been a waterfall recently. Either way, it is still a fall, so please stay on this side of the handrails. I do not know the protocol if someone was careening over the edge, so please don't make me find out. Now, when y'all are ready, y'all can follow me up here. Eagle is here to protect your safety and my sanity. This room is the second largest room you will be seeing on your tour. This is what we like to call the Painted Desert, mainly because it looks like the Painted Desert of Arizona, only slightly, just slightly, smaller and upside down. Now, I do love to point out the shadows we have in this room. To get the best look at them, I suggest lining up against this section of the wall. Chasing a guinea pig. Up here, we have a T-Rex eating a chicken nugget. Here we have a duck. And right over here, we have the Statue of Liberty. All the way over to the left, we have Squidward in his bathtub playing his clarinet. If you look right up here, you can see what looks like to be popcorn. That's actually the result of when the water was still rushing in and carving out this room. Water back then was actually highly acidic and this is what we like to call good luck rock, and this is actually a great example of why we tell people to not touch our formations. This is a fallen stalactite from the room we will be going in. Now, the reason why it looks marbled and just all around different than all the other formations that we have here is because this is the amount of decades of people touching it, and this is actually the only formation that we allow people to touch. So if you want to touch it, please feel free to. Now, a few famous people have actually touched good luck rock, including Bing Crosby, Stephen King, and Clint Eastwood. The 70-foot ceilings, but because over 150 weddings have actually happened in this room. The most recent one was actually last year. And here we have the chapel bell. This is actually a tuning fork, and the reason why it makes this sound is because of the iron oxide residing inside it. Now, please feel free to walk around. Looks like to be a cave-in. This is not natural, as this used to be another entrance from the surface. However, we had an issue with a skunk. It was not a good day. So we just decided to block it off and not let anything come in like that again. A few where Dr. Amos is buried sounds a little different. From this rock face here, that rock face over there, there was a ledge that dropped down a few feet. We've ended up covering it with concrete and actually making a man-made tunnel to provide more fluid tours. An added benefit of the man-made tunnel is a look at the American eagle. If you want to see it, I suggest lining up against this wall. Oh. Made entirely of flowstone.
Oh, dude, that is awesome.
We theorize that it snapped off due to water erosion, as there is a pretty deep shelf right here. And when Dr. Amos found it, it was lying right around here. He wanted to take it up to the surface to just show people, hey, this is what we have in Skyline Caverns. You should definitely come check us out. Where it is today is the farthest that he got it. Mainly because dragging it through 14 inches of mud and clay, Good Luck Rock itself being 5 tons, and only a few men who were able to drag it out, they weren't really able to get it that far. And so when they got to that point, Dr. Amos said, you know what, people can touch this lump of rock. That's probably not what he said, but I'm only legally required to say a few words. I'm curious if you can find the little rock that looks like a side profile of Abraham Lincoln. When I come back, if you have found it, you got a good job. Now I will be back.
We need to.
Here is where we house the shrine. This is a 22-inch stalagmite. As a lot of people say, you can also stand, you can slow dance, and you can break dance. You can also disappear, and you can stand for photo shoots. Or sit, depending on how you see them. Now, I do need to turn off one more. As you descend, please use the handrails. It is very steep. And you might notice this little ledge right here. This has been the source of many cavern kicks, and over the years it has gotten shiny. So please watch your heads, and y'all can follow me down.
That's not a duck, that's a big.
Few more people, or you guys? That's great. So right around here is where the ledge would have dropped down into, and if we were still able to look up, we would have been able to see the American eagle. However, since we can't, we have a cool stalagmite right above your heads.
Yay. Wow.
Now past here, this is where we are in between the 37-foot cliff and Trout Stream, and even past that, these little handrails here is your only barrier from you and an entrance to the second levels. If you wish to take a picture of the second levels, please do be careful, because if you end up dropping your phone or anything that you hold of value to you, we can't go down there to get it back up. It is a one-way ticket down. Children, I believe there are an exception for. Just please don't make me find out. Now, let me. Jesus.
Going back. I took going back.
Is this the same little thing we walked
Yep.
by the first time? Okay.
All right, is that everyone? Alrighty, so we are back at Trout Stream, and we are around halfway done through your tour. Now we will be heading off to the left, so as
Look out.
we call it that, because if you look right back in here, in the water's reflection, you can see Cinderella's castle. Or if you are a Harry Potter fan, you could see Hogwarts Castle.
Oh, no.
Right back here above the water, we can see Snoopy lying on the back of his doghouse. And in front of it, we can see a perched falcon. Right in front, we can see the ASL sign for I love you. And in the back, you can see two mounds. I like to interpret that as the Death Star approaching the Rebel base. Now, I guess you could also interpret that as Dolly Parton doing a backstroke, but... Now, I will be down this way here when y'all are ready.
I think she like.
Because depending on the amount of weather outside, whether there's a hurricane, a thunderstorm, or even the first instance was Hurricane Agnes, the second was Hurricane Fran, and the third, these little holes. These are what I like to call solution pockets, and these are what happens when the water pressure gets to be so high the water creates a reverse whirlpool effect that ends up drilling out the ceiling in this case. Now you might think that these holes go back only around 5 feet. This hole right ahead of me goes back 30 feet. At 200 feet. We actually got a leg up on the right in that case. Their deepest point, I believe, is only 146. And as you would think, shovel goes in, shovel comes out with mud and clay. The shovel went in, but it was stuck. It took that worker and many others to try and get the shovel out, and when it did, a very large sound rang throughout the caverns. To give a little bit of reference, it sounded like a gunshot. As that happened, a very, very strong gust of wind blew into the tiny hole created by the shovel. The gust of wind was so strong, it ripped off one of the workers' hats. What they actually found was a partial vacuum pocket. Partial vacuums of this size are incredibly rare. Now, Amos was understandably excited, but on the inside was something so rare they had never found it prior to this. Since it was Amos's expedition, he got naming rights. He thought they looked a little bit like flower clusters, so he took the Greek name antho, meaning flower, and deity, meaning cluster, putting them together to make anthodites. Now, I technically have to say this. Anthodites are protected under Virginia state law. So if you accidentally touch or break an anthodite, you could be given a $5,000 fine and up to 1 year in prison. And if you look right around the road here, you can see the first instances of anthodites.
Those are crazy looking. Oh, yeah.
The only way forward is to backtrack, so I'm not exactly sure where they are, but if we do have to go by them, it's fine. I just want to let you all know. So when y'all are ready, y'all can follow me up here. This is the largest cluster of anthodites you will be seeing on your tour. Anthodites are perfect six-sided crystals purely made from calcite. Calcite tends to reflect the light being shone on them. So for instance, right here, they're being shown a blue light, which is why they're giving off an icy blue appearance. If you look right around here, you can see what looks like to be a ring, almost what you'd see on a bathtub ring. That is the height and amount of mud and clay in this area that Dr. Amos and the men had to dig through. Now, if you follow me down this way here, I can show you how scientists theorize anthodites form. Oh yeah, that's fine. Alright. Mainly because it looks like sugar granules. The second stage is the flour stage because it kind of looks like flour on a dough board. The third stage is the glaze stage because it looks like vanilla glazed icing. Now, if the person naming these was like me and very hungry, they must have had a snack in between naming the third and fourth stage, because this stage is called the crystalline stage, which you can see behind all the nets here in this part of the system. All right, it looks like... Oh, all right, thanks. Now, anthodites, unfortunately, is our chandelier anthodite. It is 18 inches long and 126,000 years old. Wow. Now, we actually have a few tricks that the chandelier anthodite can do. I know someone here has a sensitivity to flashing lights. I don't mean to single you out, but are you sensitive to me, like, say, turning off different colored lights? Would that be an issue? All right. So, if everyone's all right with that? All right, silence is usually the good answer. So, the first color we have is blue. Then we have green. And then we have red. Now we can also get to color combinations, including Christmas. I don't care if it's October, it's always Christmas for me. We have ocean breeze. We have oh, that's blue. We have hues of purple. And then we also have Skittles. Now we can also make the chandelier andesite disappear. Is everyone alright with being in total cavern darkness? And this room loves to flood a lot. So we actually have a pump system down there that is behind a set of handrails, so please don't go over the handrails. We also have andesites down in the 60-board room, but they are not covered by any netting due to a legal loophole. Don't ask me what the legal loophole is, I don't know. Now, I would like to ask to please not throw anything at the andesites, pretty please, because I will be standing up here in case if there's someone who does not want to go down. And so, for the people who go down, I can make sure everyone comes back up so I don't leave anyone in the dark and so I don't get fired. Now, there is the only entrance and exit through right here. However, if it looks like it goes deeper, please yell. It's not supposed to, but I don't know. It could have opened. Now, if everyone's ready, y'all can go in.
Go, girl.
So pretty.
This is crazy.
And there is a bit of a bump. You won't feel it when stepping on, but you will feel it when stepping off, so please be careful. There are andesites in this passageway, so please feel free to take pictures. And at the end, there is a wooden door. Please wait for me there, and I will be back to take you all to the next section. However, if I'm not back in around 10 minutes, that is cause for alarm, because I've probably been eaten by the cavern monster. Tristan. Yeah. Anyways, y'all can go on ahead.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying not to fall, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
No, I'm good.
Something crazy. Something is going against it.
What's that one movie where the hell is like weird? So one more song.
Oh, there you go.
Wait and get eaten.
Hey, I see water. Water? Yeah, I see water.
Everyone's favorite part of this tour, the stairs. We will be going up the first 48, taking a small break, and then going up the final 13. Now, with the first 48, they are quite steep, so please do be careful. And I will see you up at the top.
That's cheating.
We have oxygen at the top.
No,
Gotta meet that girl.
Now I can show you the picture of the Valentine beetle and the bear claw. I will be over there. However, if you don't want to see it and you just want to look around a gift shop, go to the restroom, go to your car, please feel free to. And I hope you all have an amazing and wonderful day.
Thanks, Kevin.